Welcome everybody, thank you for tuning in to our latest episode of the Dissected series. Today we are going to be taking a deep dive into the Trek Rail. Now many of the features and updates we're going to be talking about are going to be available on the 9.8 and 9.9 Trek Rail models for 2022. Some of the features that are new with the Trek Rail this year, it is 29er shipped from the factory. However, with an adjustment chip here on the Minnow Link, you can convert this bike to mullet. It will run a 27.5-inch rear wheel, no problem. It is still a 150 rear, 160 front. You can run a 170 fork up there as well. But what you will notice is new is the Airwiz suspension products here, thanks to the partnership with Trek and Shox. Much like the Tirewiz little red green light indicators that let you know you are in prime air pressure territory, the Shox Airwiz parts will also indicate a red or green light if your suspension products are set up at the PSI you determine is right for your weight. Very easy to remove the cap. On the fork, you can see through the little peeking window a red or green light flashing when the bike moves, letting you know that your pressure is still right and you are good to go. Now that Airwiz partnership is exclusive with Trek for this year, and it is only available on the 9.9 models. However, through Trek's Project One program, you can not only customize paint, you can also upgrade to the Airwiz and Tirewiz components if you desire. Also new on the Trek Rail for 22 is a much longer reach up front. You've got a steeper seat tube angle, a new 34.9 thicker seat post diameter, a 1.8-inch head tube up front with a 64.5-degree head tube angle, and overall just a little bit more updated geometry. 448 chainstays remain the same across the full range of sizes. The large has a 32.9 millimeter bottom bracket drop and making a 340.7 bottom bracket height, 1,277 millimeter wheelbase. The head tube angle is 64.2 degrees with a 43 millimeter offset fork, and our size large with the Minnow Link in the low position yields a 487 millimeter reach with a 490 in the high position, which is quite a bit longer than the previous generation's reach, which I believe was 465 millimeters.
All right, so the lengthened 490 millimeter reach and steeper seat tube angle definitely work to put you in a nice climbing position without feeling too cramped. You're not worrying about hitting your knees on the stem.
We would like to see either maybe another medium large size in the middle between that 455 medium to that 490 large. I think a lot of riders and some of the terrain that you'll see we get into today, having these long reaches isn't always super desirable, as it makes that front end a little bit harder to move around tight terrain. There's a very cool app that Bosch has where you can connect with the bike. It's called the Flow app. And there's also a very cool range estimator. And if you want to see how much your old 650 versus the 720 will change your range, you can plug in your riding weight, your knobby tire size, your terrain that you ride, and you can kind of get a little bit of a visual representation of how much farther you can go out and ride. Also, it's really useful if you're going out for a big day. You can kind of plug in your mileage. You can pull it up on your phone on the trail, actually. You can see how far you've ridden, your exact battery percentage, what your estimated range is for the rest of that ride. And from that app, you can also tune down the turbo mode, or you can tune up depending on your preference. You can also modify the eco mode to give you a little bit more or less support to really maximize the range and feel you desire. So updates can be done over the air. You do not have to go into a dealer anymore or log in with a computer. Everything can be done over the air, Bluetooth, through your cell phone. It also automatically will upload activities to other programs like Apple Health and some other third-party applications, and they are working on developing even more connectivity to those apps in the future. Other nice updates include the new kiosk display unit. It's not easy to knock off like we had some issues with on last year's rail. You can also toggle very easily through different displays on the screen, so you can get a lot of different data. You can see whatever fields are important to you, whether that's watts and power, calories and heart rate or just speed. Also, this new Smart System controller on the handlebar is very neat. The LEDs in the controller change color to let you know easily what power mode you're in. So as you cycle up from Eco to Tour Plus, eMTB to Turbo, these will indicate a different color to let you know which power mode you're in. Other major updates include Bosch's new Smart System and a 750 watt-hour battery. The 20% increase in battery range obviously made a little bit easier to access thanks to that much longer front end. Gives you a lot more range, a lot more riding time, and if you like us, it's a lot more turbo. Now, to help get this big battery charged even faster, Trek will be shipping these 9899 rails with a 4 amp charger. It's going to help increase the speed of battery charging, getting you back on the trail further. Of course, having that extra battery means you've got even more range and may not need to worry about charging it quite as much. Another update to a somewhat polarizing feature is the knock block. It is now knock block 2, and turning radius is changed from 58 to 72 degrees, which is really as much as I think anyone's gonna need out on the trail. It still offers protection from your brake levers and shifters against hitting that top tube in the event of a crash or bike tipping over while you have it leaned against a wall. If you would like to remove it, you're just not a fan and you gotta be able to do those bar spins and tail whips, it is removable and you can run the bike without knock block 2, but again, I think most of the riders out there are not gonna have a problem with that new 72-degree sweep. It's really impressive how much better it is and lets us navigate this bike out on tight, twisty sections of trail. Speaking of top tube damage, something that we have had some issues with Trek bikes in the past is the clear coat thickness or paint durability. Unfortunately, as you can see, we had a little bit of inclement weather out here on the trails today, and it is very sandy and kind of gritty. And while it was raining on us, a lot of this dirt got kicked up, and there is some definite rash and rub on this top tube. So a word to the wise, a suggestion: if you do make the investment on one of these nice bikes, make sure you go out and buy some clear, tinted, colored graphics, whatever you want, but just make sure you get some frame protection for these bikes. Okay, we've gone over some of the features, some of the updates on the new rail 9.8s and 9.9s. Ride impressions. If you've seen our dissected videos, you'll know these are not intended to be our long-term reviews or official verdicts on these bikes. So our first impressions are going to be more experiential on Bosch stuff, other amenities, and kind of initial thoughts on this bike. So bear with us, stay tuned for the long-term review. We are going to get into it, and it'll be coming out in a few months. From a rider's perspective, the new Bosch Smart System is very cool. The app integration is awesome. I do feel like I'm going to probably have to move this controller in a little bit, as the buttons are very easy to press, and I've had some accidental mode shifts or power shifts, and I think as you're bouncing around, that's definitely something that is going to probably just take a little bit of time to recalibrate and get a little bit more of a delicate thumb as we're bouncing around on really rocky technical terrain, trying to climb and make some moves.
All right, well, we've been hitting our pedals and cranks a little bit so far, and on these side hill technical climbs, it definitely has us wanting to switch this bike into high mode, but if you're a little cautious, it seems like it's okay, but definitely threading the needle or climbing on the side of these angled hills. There we go, that was a little strike right there. Let's see if we can make it through here. All right, there it is.
Otherwise, this bike, as you could expect, it's got the rail DNA, which we all love. It is a fast, hard-charging, well-rounded, and very capable bike. We have no doubts that this thing is going to perform as well, possibly better in some situations than the previous generation rail. And we'll just kind of have to wait and see if that longer geo will have too many downsides to us that we'll be aware of. The Shox Airwiz stuff and Tirewiz, it is very neat. It is cool that you can quickly and easily know if your suspension and tires are in the right range for your weight and what you've set up. The fact that you can just move the bike and see if it's red or green and know that you're ready to hop on the bike and charge, and being on an e-bike, that's definitely something you want to do. You just want to turn this thing on and pedal. And once you're up to 20 miles an hour, it's really hard to want to stop or turn back and go to the car or garage and get a shock pump. So knowing that you can quickly look, see a green light and mean you're ready to go is pretty awesome. Other than that, the code RSC brakes are surprisingly powerful so far. You'll know we've definitely had some issues with SRAM brakes in the past. This set feels great. Love the rotor size spec. The Zeb e-bike specific fork is killer. The offset, nice, quick, nimble handling, but stable at speed. The shock tune feels great. Overall, Trek suspension platform with their ABP stuff, we're fans of it. We like it. The bike's won 2 of our e-bike shootouts in the last 2 years. So we suspect that this bike is going to deliver and make us happy once again. So the 9.8 models are available in GX or XT and start at $8,999. You can go up to a 9.9 XTR, which is $12,499. Or if you go up to the AXS equipped with the Airwiz and all the doodads and gizmos, you're talking about $13,499. And then if you get the custom paint through that Project One program, the sky's the limit right there, depending on how fancy you want to get. So definitely a bike that you're going to be really a dedicated rider. You're going to have some cash you want to throw down on having the latest high quality fancy equipment you can get, but the trade-offs are you're going to have a very capable, very easy bike that will really make it kind of a set and forget experience and just easily let you know that you're ready to ride when you throw that helmet and your shoes on and it's ready to go. If you're looking to stay a little bit more conservative on that price tag, you can go down to the 9.7 and lower end models and still have an absolutely great time. Make sure you check out our Rail 7 versus 9.9 head-to-head shootout video we did. And it really showcases how much of a difference there is between a high dollar bike and a more affordable model and what it means to riders on the trail. Well, folks, that is the 2022 Trek Rail 9.8 and 9.9 in a nutshell. Again, it's still the same trusty old rail that we've grown to love, just with a few updates to geometry and features. If you're looking to customize this bike, enjoy a longer battery range, the latest from Bosch's Smart System, it is ready to go. Trek has done a really good job at making a future-forward bike, and we are excited to spend a lot more time on it. Stay tuned for our long-term review. Of course, we're going to be holding on to this bike and making it a part of our 2022 eMTB shootout, which we're very excited to have going on next spring. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see that shootout as well as a bunch more cool bike videos and tests that we will be doing in the future. Your support means a ton to us. Thank you guys very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you out on the trails.